Hi guys, Sag Studio here. For today, we are going to share some basic tips and tricks on how we do our post-production process using Adobe Photoshop CC, specifically 2019. The version of Adobe Photoshop CC is quite important because lower versions might not have the same settings from the more updated ones. For the reference image that we will be using for this post-production tutorial, it will be the rendered image from the LCT Part 1 Lumion preset tutorial video. So we actually have 3 parts in doing the post-production process. For the first part, we are going to play around with the camera raw filter, the Gaussian blur, and the high pass settings. For the second part, we are going to adjust the clarity and texture settings heavily, as well as the color of the image. For the third part, we are going to apply motion blur for live objects captured on the image. So for the first part of the post-production process, we should open the image in Adobe Photoshop CC. So here's the rendered image from the LCT Part 1 Lumion preset tutorial video. Click this background layer so we can set it to layer 0, then click OK. After that, press Ctrl-Shift-A to open the camera raw filter. Click this auto tab, adjust the vibrance and saturation into +3, the haze will be +25, clarity and texture will be both +50. Now, we are going to play around with these settings. Basically, we want the rendered image to have more depth and details, so we would want to reduce the amount of dark elements which could be seen on this image. Okay, this looks good enough. Next, press Alt, then drag the layer 0 down. This would create a layer 0 copy, then drag it above layer 0. Change the normal setting into soft light, then set the opacity into 25%. Go to filters, then select blur, and under the blur effect, select Gaussian blur. Radius should be around 5 pixels. This is like adding a bit of bloom effect to our image. For the next step, press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. A layer 1 should pop up on the layer tab. Then press Ctrl-Shift-U. The layer 1 should turn black and white. Change the normal setting into overlay, then set the opacity into 25%. Go to filters, then select others, then select high pass. Radius should be 10 pixels, then press OK. That's basically it for the first part of the post-production process. Let's save this image since we are going to use this for the second part of the post-production process. We are going to name the image 1.1. The image quality should be 12 and maximum. Here's the difference between the rendered image without post-production and with post-production. For the second part of the post-production process, let's open the previously saved image, which was the 1.1. Click the background layer and let's change this again to layer 0. Then press Ctrl-Shift-A. We are going to set the clarity into +100, then the texture into -100. After that, we are going to play around with the vibrance and saturation. Saturation would be good at +7 and vibrance would be good at +9. After that, we are going to edit some of these settings. We would want to make the image a bit less dark and lessen the white a bit, since maximizing the clarity made the white elements appear brighter. Okay, this is good. After that, press Ctrl-Shift-A. We are going to lessen the texture again, maybe around -70. This is a little polishing that we are doing so that the image would not look as detailed as much. Okay, looks good enough. Let's save this image. We are going to name it 1.2. And that's it for the second part of the post-production process. Here's the difference between the 1.1 and 1.2 image. For the third part of the post-production, let's open the 1.2 image. Click the background layer again, and we will change it into layer 0. We are just going to zoom in a bit, then press P to enable the pen tool, then start tracing the outside of this car. Make sure to click on the first point where we started, so that the outline could be closed. After that, right-click your mouse, then choose Make Selection. Feather radius should be 1 pixel, then press OK. This would let us copy the vehicle. After that, press this paper icon so that we could create a new layer. Click the layer 0, then press Ctrl-C, so we could copy the vehicle. Click the layer 1, then press Ctrl-V. The vehicle should be in layer 1 by now. After that, press Alt, then drag the layer 1 down. We are going to need 2 copies of the vehicle. Make sure that the 2 vehicle layers are on top of layer 0. Click layer 1, then go to filter, then select blur, then select motion blur. Angle should be adjacent to the road, so for this one, around 3 degrees. The distance for this would be 25 pixels. Do the same thing for the layer 1 copy. For the distance on this one, we are going to set it in 60 pixels. Let's hide the layer 1 copy first by clicking this eye icon right here. After that, click layer 1. Let's move it back a bit. Just press the right arrow key to move the layer 1 back. After that, Let's set the opacity of layer 1 into 25%. Okay, looks good. We are going to do the same with the layer 1 copy, so let's unhide it by clicking again the eye icon, and let's hide the layer 1 for now. We would want to move the layer 1 copy further back than the layer 1. We are also going to set the opacity for this into 25%. Okay, this is good enough. Let's save this image and we are basically done. Here's the difference between the initial rendered image with just rendering it with Lumion, and here it is now after applying the post-production. That's it for our post-production process tutorial. If you have any questions, kindly write it down in the comments. And if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.